All right. Well, anybody watching? I'm here with Eddie Diaz. You've probably heard some stories about Eddie. Eddie's just kind of here to hang out, and we're going to do a couple different episodes. Right now, we're just going to kind of talk about what Eddie has going on, where he got here. I guess we'll kind of start with you're in Perry. Where did it start? Where did you kind of begin everything? Like, I guess, where were you born, kind of all that stuff, and what got you here today?
Yeah, actually just got back from California 2 weeks ago, and it was pretty nice because I'm originally from California, born and raised. I was 15 or 16, a junior in high school.
Okay.
My parents decided to move out here to Perry, Iowa.
To the east side, the upper, whatever.
Yeah, they were looking for. They're farm workers, so they worked the strawberry fields and different types of farm labor. So they were looking for a little bit of a upward mobility.
Okay.
And they had some connections in Perry. There's a meat packing plant that was bringing in a lot of immigrant labor.
Okay.
And so my parents came in, and in most cases, a meatpacking plant would not be seen as easier and better type of work environment.
Yes.
But I mean, for a farm worker like my parents were, it was a upward step for them.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's how I made it to Iowa. I've been in Iowa for I guess over 20 years.
Oh, jeez.
In fact, when I introduce myself now, I tell people I'm from Iowa because I've been here over half my life.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa's been good to me.
Mm-hmm.
I like Iowa.
Yeah.
So I still have a lot of California in me, but I think Iowa is home now.
Well, the weather's always the one that's the biggest thing to transition to. You're like, and especially recently, it was.
No doubt, I needed to get out to California after this winter.
Oh,
it
yeah.
Was fun. It was good weather. 60 degrees. People were complaining about it, and I'm like, I'll take 60 degrees any day of the week. So it was fun.
And so you went to Iowa State, I believe, right?
Yep.
Graduated.
05.
05.
Yeah.
Now, were you? I know you were in the military. Now, were you military before or after?
So,
or during?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
So I went to Iowa State for a year.
Okay.
For my freshman year,
Mm-hmm.
it was by all means a pretty successful year. But I broke up with my girlfriend that freshman year. And so that was kind of the thing that got me to Iowa State.
Okay.
In the back of my mind, the Marine Corps was calling my name since I was 12 years old or so.
Okay.
And so I took some time off, joined the military, and then came back, did the reserves, and started going to college again. I was on the verge of graduating in 04.
Okay.
And my unit got deployed, so I took another year off. So
yeah.
It was a long undergrad. I tell people probably a lot of it was my fault, but some of it was military obligations.
Yeah.
So I got done with my undergrad when I got back from Iraq.
Oh, awesome. That's thank you for your service, of course. I've always it's one of those things where I've had a lot of friends that have been in the military, very fortunately, and I've always had a good time kind of talking to them. They did it. I'm glad I didn't. Yeah. I was never a personal choice, but the things that they've had to do and see are things that I've been fortunate not to ever have to experience in my lifetime. So
yeah, you get to see some pretty rough things, but here's the thing: I always tell people I come back and appreciate life so much more after being in combat, because fortunately I don't have to worry about 99% of the things that I worried about when I was overseas.
No, yeah, it completely makes sense, and it gives you a lot more respect of like what. How safe it really, even if you say, well, the United States is falling in a pit hole. Like when you go to other countries like that and you see the kind of, if somebody has a roof, they're considered rich in some countries,
Right.
whereas we go, well, of course you have a roof. Why wouldn't you have a roof? It's a weird thing to come back to, and, people don't really take it for granted.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times.
It gives you a whole lot of perspective on how beautiful life is, really.
Well, and, even you, with an immigrant family and everything, that's really, like, you're sitting there going, like, man, we didn't realize how good we had it having it bad.
Right.
So, yeah, that's always whatever. So, got out of the military, kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, it never leaves you.
Right.
It is one of those
I
things.
still got my haircut.
Yeah, well,
The high and tight.
yeah. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
People are like, "You've been in the military?" I'm like, "No, I'm just bald." So, and then stuck around, Iowa State, and then you kind of you didn't leave. You ended up going into graduate school then.
Yeah. So not quite. I came back. I had a political science degree.
Oh.
Which,
so you didn't have a degree.
Yeah, basically.
Political science,
Basically,
I went to school for, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it was. So I got a couple of jobs, one of them here in downtown and a few different places. But the job that really set me on the trajectory that I'm on now was I got a job at Woodward Academy.
Oh, okay.
Which is a placement center for, at the time, young men with, they'd basically been in trouble with the law. Yeah. So there's multiple programs, but the program that I was in was Delta Company. It's a boot camp program. Okay. And it's no longer there. The boot camps are not as they're kind of frowned upon nowadays. Yeah. But I had a military background. I was in pretty good shape. I could run with the kids. I was pretty good at yelling at kids if that needed to be done.
Probably still pretty good at that.
Yeah. It's come in handy. That Marine Corps yelling has come in handy. But it was an amazing feeling working with young men and hopefully making an impact. Yes. And so then I went back and got my degree from Drake to become a teacher.
Oh, awesome. Yep. So then get your degree, you become a teacher. Where did you start? Like, did you just meet in Perry, or were you kind of...
Yeah, so I was living in Perry at the time. I have to say I'm the one of 5. Okay. So people always ask me why am I still in Perry. A bunch of reasons, all right? Yeah. One, I do think I can make a bigger impact in a smaller setting. So I like it. It's a good community. But 2, I'm a mama's boy. There's no denying that. Oh, yeah. I'm one of 5, and I like to tell people I am the rebel of the family because I'm the one that moved the furthest away from my mom. And I live 6 blocks from my mom. So, like, all my siblings are just, like, hovering around her neighborhood because, we're just a very close family. So.
Yeah, that's good.
So, but my first teaching degree was, my first teaching assignment was Des Moines Public Schools. Oh, okay. So I was at Lincoln High School, Hoover High School for a couple years. Cool.
And then, so obviously, then you moved on. Now we know you're in Perry still. You kind of started working with the Catholic school then?
Yeah. So I came back to Perry, right? And taught for 6 years roughly. Okay. And teaching is a great profession. I'll tell people, being in the Marines was great. I feel like I made a difference in the world. But my number one job when I die and I look back upon it will be teaching. So I was doing it for 6 years. Yeah. Decided, maybe I can do something different. Maybe I can make a bigger impact. Yep. And then I went and taught. I went and became a principal at a Catholic school there in Perry. Cool.
Yeah, and then obviously, if you don't know Eddie, there was some news stories. You can look it up that happened with Eddie and everything. Kind of I guess I'm gonna, so that way you don't really have to talk about it. Brief synopsis. People didn't agree with each other. Eddie kind of got the short stick of it at the time, and then the community, because Eddie's such a good guy, came in and had his back and said, "Hey." And then, and then it kind of got turned around at the time. So, I mean, yes, that is a very oversimplified way to look at it, but it's kind of the way without you having to actually go sit there and go, oh, well, this is, this, and this. But, yeah, so it turned out in your favor at that time. But now you've moved on to, I believe, DMAC?
Yeah. So, last year I decided that I needed to move on, and... When I did, there's a few opportunities that came up, and DMAC was one of them. Okay. Talked to a few people in the administration there at DMAC. They thought I'd be a pretty good fit. Okay. And I've been there a little less than a year. It's a great organization. I can't say enough good things about it. It's a little different. It's a little outside my comfort zone right now because I'm a K-12 guy, public education, even private schools, and now I'm in higher ed. Yeah. But I'm getting the hang of it.
And so what is your actually capacity with DMAC? What are you doing? Because are you DMAC in Perry then,
Yeah.
or okay?
So the program that I am with is called Career Advantage.
Oh, okay.
And so DMAC is actually a leader in this thing called dual enrollment.
Okay.
If you have a high school student at most high schools in central Iowa,
Yeah.
chances are that school offers college credits within their building.
Okay.
My program, which is called Career Advantage, works with those schools to provide those classes.
Oh, cool.
So I work with about 7 high schools in the area that I'm in charge of. I'm also in charge of the building there in Perry, and that we also bring in people to take classes for high school students primarily.
Oh, cool.
Mostly career exploration, say from welding to auto to criminal justice, teaching. We try to give students an opportunity to explore while they're still in high school so they can figure out what their path is going to be.
Well, and I think there's skilled positions is something a lot of people don't realize, that there's a lot of open positions out there that are going away. There's a lot of old guard that were doing those positions. Welding is definitely, one of those skills that is open for a lot of stuff, and people don't realize that there is a lot of if you don't want to go to college, if you don't want to whatever, there's a lot of trade practices, and it's nice that you're giving those, saying, hey, you know what, I get it, you don't want to go to college. Yeah. I get it, you don't want to get a political science degree.
Yeah.
Or stuff like that, but you're basically saying, hey, there's a whole other world out there that people probably don't tell you about. A lot of people fell into those industries back in the day, but now those industries are they're looking. It's a hard thing, and there's a big job market for those that nobody knows about.
Absolutely, and part of it was people like me that had good intentions push students to go to a 4-year degree, because it did wonderful things for my life.
Yeah.
But it's a pendulum. We push too hard.
Yep.
And so there's students that either were not prepared or were not going to be looking for something in 4-year degree, but they were pushed into that area.
Yeah.
And they were not successful. So we're trying to bring it back, and I sense it. I have a lot of conversations. People know nowadays that 1, college is expensive. 2, there's a lot of jobs you can get with a 2-year degree from DMAC or even a certificate that gives you a pretty good quality of life.
Yeah, well, and on-the-job training is such a bigger thing now, because knowing, and if you're a math teacher, I apologize, calculus doesn't get you very far outside of being a scientist. Yeah. There's just not a lot of jobs out there that they're gonna have you doing advanced calculus. So those things that you needed way back in the day, and when we were in school, we're a little older. You're just a hair older than I am, but Eddie just had a birthday. Turned 55? Is that
54?
54.
Yeah.
Probably feels like it at this point.
Yeah, it's been 40 years old. I didn't think it was. I typically don't think too much about my birthday. Half the time I forget when my birthday's coming up. But this 40s, not in a negative way. I don't think I'm too down on it, but I'm being a lot more reflective than I usually am.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah, that's definitely a thing out there. So, so that's kind of where got you to here. What are you doing looking forward? Is there anything that you've got like on your agenda, kind of moving forward, some things, or?
Well, it's been really good. This year's been really good. Just rebalancing my work life. My family's. I have 3 kids. I'm married, so spending a little more time with them has been a really good thing. But I do tend to get a little stir crazy, looking for a next challenge. So I'm in the midst of applying for. Well, I applied for 2 things.
Okay.
One, I applied for a Pat Tillman Foundation scholarship,
okay.
Which is a scholarship for veterans seeking higher degrees. And if I get that, it'll pay for a good chunk of a doctorate.
Oh.
So I'm applying for a doctorate program as we speak. In the next week or so, I'll be finished with that. And so if that goes through, I'll start my doctorate in the fall. And if it doesn't, then I'll try it again next year.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's definitely. I'm so far removed from school and everything. I just assume because obviously I'm not right. I just assumed it's like signing up for like a match account. Like you just like no, they swipe right on you and you're good to go or something like that. That's how schools pick them anymore. So
I wish it was that quick and easy. But it's been a couple months that I've started it, and Took a while to get my wife to agree to it, but she kind of knows my personality. I like to give you a challenge, so.
Where would you be trying to finish your doctorate at? With Drake again, or
Iowa State's where I'm applying.
Okay.
At the conference in California, I talked to a professor at Colorado State University.
Oh, okay.
So that might be an option, but.
Would they allow? Is that like online, or would it be like 2 weeks here, then the rest of the time out? Like where you kind of split between. I think I've known people that have done. Yes, they're getting their like masters, doctors, stuff like that, but they don't have to be there all the time. Is that how they would offer it?
Yeah,
or?
we definitely not move to Colorado. It'd be a hybrid, they call it, which is a lot of online.
Okay.
A cohort with a bunch of different people, and then 2 weeks out of the year you go out.
Yeah, something. Oh, that'd be such an unfortunate time.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
I was in Colorado 3 times last summer, and then 6 weeks. I fell in love with the mountains.
It's beautiful mountains. It's a very scenic state.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like it's the Midwest kind of, but I always think Iowa is is 1-0 state away from Colorado.
Yeah. Nebraska.
And if you're a fan of Nebraska, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but Nebraska is is kind of like, if I didn't have to go through Nebraska,
it'd be a short
especially if we get over to like western Nebraska, where it's like I'm pretty sure I'm going in a circle because I saw that farmhouse.
Yeah.
Literally like an hour ago.
Well, the benefit of that is you can take a nap while you're driving. There's no issue with that.
And you and everybody else is on their way over there.
Yeah.
And some people coming back, they're napping for a completely different reason when they're leaving Colorado. Yeah. So, it's nice to see they came down here today. We really appreciated everything. Any shout outs you want to do? Anything, that's going on? Anybody you want to say, hey, obviously the wife, the kids, I don't think they'll watch this. I don't think they're going to care.
Actually, the funny thing is, one of the main reasons I did this, well, one, you're my buddy, and I was always support you, but one of the things that's come with being 40 is thinking about my kids. The legacy I'll leave for them. What are they going to know about me? What are my grandkids going to know about me? And so I've been thinking a lot about writing a book. Not like a novel or anything, but like a little short book.
Okay.
But I'm too lazy, can't get around to doing it. So I said, what's the next best thing I could do? A podcast. It's online. My grandkids can see it in decades or so. My kids. Kind of give my kids, my grandkids, anybody that might see this down the road and I'll never meet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Talking about stuff like that is, I had asked my parents once, I said, or my dad, I said, how did your, mom and dad meet? Because it was a very weird story with what my parents had, or my grandma had. So my grandma and grandpa, she was a widow, and she already had 4 kids in 1920 whatever it was, or 1930 something or whatever. My grandpa was in the military, and she was Canadian. So he was, stationed in Newfoundland, and met a widow with 4 kids, and I never had a chance to ask him. Like, at that time, it's now you would see it, and it'd be more commonplace. But back then, that had to be wild. Like, I just can't even imagine. Like, I never got a chance to ask him. My dad said, "Well, we never talked about stuff like that back then." But I just go, "Well, how do you think that?" Like, you go, "Oh, this lady's awesome," and I know this isn't a nice way to say it, but look at all the baggage she comes with, something like that, and you just go, "Wow, what kind of man was he to go, hey, you know what? I care about you enough. Bring them all. We're all going to Sizzler, whatever it is." But it was like, man, I wish I would have had an opportunity to ask them, because I didn't know. You don't think about it as a kid.
Right.
But when you do get to 40, and you go, oh man, stuff I wish I would have asked my grandmother, my grandfather, different things like that. Even then, I've asked my parents, like, how did you guys meet, and different things like that. Now, they've been together. They got married, and 3 months later, they had my sister.
Okay.
So, shotgun wedding.
Right.
And everything. But I've asked them, how did this work out and stuff like that. And I'm fortunate that they've given me a response. But I asked them if they've ever asked. No, why would we ask? And I'm like, it was just a different generation.
Right.
For some, their openness of family. And I don't know. That's definitely, it'll be nice for your kids, grandkids, down the line. Because now with digital, and as people know, tweeting stuff that doesn't go away.
Yeah,
there are people finding that out.
Well, I don't know if you're familiar with StoryCorps, but I think it's a great tool. You're sitting down interviewing a parent, and it gets recorded in the National Archives, and it's a really cool thing. I'll eventually do it with my kids. I will probably, hopefully, eventually get to writing a little book. Just a little book with some anecdotes and lessons. Hey, kids, this is what I learned from this. Hopefully to pass on some stuff that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, but it'll be written down to help.
Yeah, I think we were talking about it last time we were around each other, and you had said, yes, writing a book, but more of like in regards to like the poster when I saw when I was a kid, that all I ever learned in life I learned in kindergarten.
Right.
But you kind of doing something relative to that and saying like, here's how you be a good person, but simple rules.
Right.
But putting it out there for kids that when they get to see something like that, they see a positive influence, and obviously you being a person of color, giving kids somebody to identify with and saying like, here's a way to do it. And there's just not a lot of books, especially written by people of color, that offer opportunities to, because obviously, you could put it in Spanish, you could put it in English, whatever, everything like that. It is definitely something I could see you doing, because you definitely are a very positive influence on many, many, many people. So,
thank you.
No, so, but, well, I think that's about all we have for this one. We are going to be filming. This is kind of the formal one. We will also be filming after this episode. You will have the opportunity to watch us play some video games. We're going to get Eddie in on some fun video games. So if you guys are sticking around, feel free. We'll be up on Twitch. Then also you can check us out on YouTube. Actually, for anybody that's watching this, check out YouTube because this is actually not live on Twitch. But yeah, check out the other videos. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. Nope, because it's Poundtown. We gotta do the.
Bad.
Yeah, it's all. You gotta finish this. I don't know why, but it completely makes sense. That's the way it works. So, but thank you very much, and we'll see you in a second.
Sounds good.